School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This is the Sports Fix. What is your name?
I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Dude, what do you want?
Well, it's this rug I have. It really tied the room together.
We are not a show to be swept under the rug. We are a show to be heard.
It's the Sports Fix.
What you gonna do? You wanna get down? Tell me. What you gonna do? Do you wanna get down? What you gonna do? You wanna get out? What you gonna do?
All right, man, get a little. Hey, come on, man. You know you got a little here, cool in the gang. Get the shoulder shuffle going, man. It makes you feel good. Feel good jam to end the show. Welcome back. Sports Fix, final segment, final few minutes of the show here. I've kept you long enough. Hey, look, this was one of those shows that we just had a lot of ground to cover. You had the Browns, got the Tribe, got the Buckeyes, got all the NFL stuff. You know what? That's what took us into that overtime hour was the NFL, man. I mean, can they start concentrating on playing some football? Keep that off the field stuff. Keep that in your pocket. But, hey, you got to talk about it, like I said earlier. But fun to talk about some football. Fun to talk about a Browns victory, a Buckeyes victory as best it was. I wish we were talking about a damn Tribe sweep instead of the other way around this weekend. I mean, I'm going to be the first one to tell you I'm frustrated. I still believe that there's still 14 games left, people. Get down on it. They've still got a mathematical opportunity, and until somebody kicks me out, I saw Bruce in the chat room turn out the lights at Progressive Field. Until they kick me out, doggone it, I'm not going anywhere. It starts tonight. You got 4 with the Stros, and you got to sweep them all. There's no we maybe got to do. No, let's just cut all the ambiguousness out of it. You have to go, and you have to win 1, 2, 3, 4 baseball games in a row against Houston, and then we can start talking again when we head to Minnesota, because you got a eeny, meeny, miny, mo, just try to win 14 in a row. That's the best I can come up with. So start with Zach McAllister, 8:10 p.m. on the road, taking on McHugh. We've already done this with the last time these two teams met, and you just missed taking all 3 of them. That cannot happen this time. You don't let any of these slip. I mean, you got to win 14 and hope that other teams lose. It's the worst position you can be in when you got to put your destiny into other people's hands instead of the team of destiny taking it for yourselves. But anyways, you got McAllister, Kluber, Carrasco, and Salazar. Those are the 4 mates taking the mound for the Indians in this key final series with Houston, stretching down the final 14 games of the season. You got to win them all. We have to come back here tomorrow and talk about an Indians victory. That's it. There's no middle ground to it. Zach McAllister going to get the chance. You saw they tweaked the rotation here to get things back on pace so that they can line house to be back up in the Minnesota series there. So they didn't want to mess anything with them there. So we will. Absolutely, Bruce. They're a 60-win team right now. I mean, they should have packed it up. This thing should be in the suitcase for them. Go out there and steamroll these guys. I mean, at the end of the season, if the Indians fall short, you're going to say, well, May, June, July, defense, pitching, offense, Swisher. We can go through all the different reasons why in the first 3 quarters of the season they put themselves in such a big hole that they had to deal with it down the stretch. But you'll feel, I mean, at least, hey, man, you steamroll through these teams here. We said you got to take 7 on this road trip, and we weren't counting on getting swept in Detroit. So you can still take 7. You can still sweep out the remainder of this thing and keep yourself mathematically alive. And you know what? If you do fall short, I'd feel better about it taking 12, 13, hell, 14 out of the last 14. At least then you could say we went down on our sword with our guns blazing. So but you don't feel that same way. You split this series with Houston, then it's just playing out the string. Were they broken in Detroit, or does Tito got one more push in them? Because that'd be interesting to see too. Do they have one more push in them? That'll show you the heart, the consistency of what this team's made of. I say, yes, they do. And it starts tonight in Houston with Zach McAllister on the mound. Let's see what the Indians can do. The clock is ticking. It's on you. All you can do is win every game they put in front of you and let the rest of the chips fall as they may. Let's see what happens, baby, for the Indians. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com will talk about the nastiness that was the weekend in Detroit and look ahead this week, Houston, Minnesota, and we'll do the whole Indians discussion that we do every Tuesday with Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. Dr. Football, Bill Checkus will be in the house. We'll talk about the latest going on. I know Adrian Peterson had a statement today. He said, I am not, without a doubt, a child abuser. I'm going to testify in court that I did not intend to harm my son, and he apologized for the hurt he may have brought to his child in his manner of disciplining. Peterson said that he's met with the police and the grand jury and has also met with a psychologist so that he can learn alternative ways of disciplining his child, which may be considered more appropriate. So that's the latest with that as that case continues on. We'll talk about all of that with Dr. Football. Absolutely, Vashon. We mentioned earlier he's already been reinstated, reactivated to the roster, and he will be playing here this weekend. The Vikings made that official here earlier. We'll talk to Dr. Football Bill Checkus about all of that, get his thoughts on the Browns here heading into the Ravens. Monday Night Football tonight. For those of you into the fantasy football world, a big one here because I expect a shootout. Take that as I need a shootout in my fantasy football league because I'm down 65 points, but I got 3 guys going tonight to try to clear that gap up. Andrew Luck being the big one. I figure if these two teams match scores like I think they will, there could be a shootout going on here that should bode well for Andrew Luck. I've also got Parquet, the place kicker for the Eagles. I figure they'll run up some points, so that should work. And Zach Ertz is my tight end here for Philadelphia, who also has shown a tendency to be a decent target there in the red zone. So I'm thinking I've at least got a shot at this, getting 65 points out of that group of 3 guys, especially if Andrew Luck balls out like he did last week. So we'll see. Speaking of the Fantasy Football League, I will officially be posting the pictures later on this week and making the formal announcement of the sponsorship for this year's Fantasy Football League. You know, I always say things happen for a reason, and something that looked like it could have been bad, a situation turns itself around, and it may have opened itself up to something cool. It actually looks like we are going to have 3 different prizes this year for the Fantasy Football League: a championship title, and this one's pretty nifty too, a little bit different than last year's. For the overall winner, we're going to have a fantasy football ring for the winner of the consolation bracket, and then we're even going to have a special prize for the very last place finisher. They will get their own custom trophy for finishing in very last place. So I'll tell you guys more about that and who's bringing it to you, and you'll be hearing more about somebody new who's come on board here in the next few days, and I'll post the pictures of the championship belt once it arrives on premises. I will snapshot that thing and I will show it to you guys, the prize that we're all competing for here in the Sports Fix Fantasy Football Challenge. What else we got going on here as we get ready to wrap it up? Floyd Mayweather won the decision over the weekend. Man, I know some people, I like Floyd Mayweather because he sells fights, and coming from the sports entertainment business, I totally understand the marketability of what he does. But I think he kills himself on the back end by the fact that there's never decisions on, or I mean, there's never finality on his fights. There's no finish. Nobody gets finished. It's always decisions. It's I don't know. I thought the first fight was better. I liked the first Madonna fight, but I'm not a Floyd Mayweather guy. I know some people say that he's just so dominant in these fights and nobody can touch him, but I don't know. I don't like the basic boxing strategy of fighting for draws and just sticking and moving and I guess whatever you get into that strategy, that's fine. But I don't know. I'm more like a lot of people attracted for the attraction value. And I've said this before. There's nothing that beats the attraction value of the heavyweights. I don't care. I mean, yeah, the lighter weight fighters have taken the center stage in the last decade, last 20 years or so because of the dearth of competitive, entertaining heavyweights. But at the end of the day, if you had a heavyweight with Floyd Mayweather's mouthpiece on a heavyweight boxer, you would have the biggest all-time boxing draw of all time. You'd have Mike Tyson in the modern century here, you know. But anyways, I agree. I mean, it's the same formula every time. But I do think that hurts you on the back end. I know he still makes a lot of money on the pay-per-view market, but I see that whittling down a little bit. I mean, people just kind of go, okay, the few real fights, and I know I'm obviously mostly referring to Pacquiao when I say that, have been avoided, and a lot of people look at this as, you know, the best of the rest. And he goes out here and he matches up with guys. Exactly. He's allowed to go out there and play his fight. Like Vashon just said, he wins those early rounds and then he's able to just chill and play stick and move, and you that's it. You're the one that has to finish him. Some people don't like that, the sweet science, as you will. Some people aren't as into that. Some people are into seeing no socks, black boots, black t-shirt, black, you know, not even t-shirt, the black cut off sweatshirt, or sometimes it's just a towel with a hole cut in the top of it that Tyson used to wear to the ring. And I got a wrestler buddy that does that, and he does the Tyson thing. He just cuts the hole in the towel, and every time I see him get ready to go out there, I'm like, man, that's Mike Tyson in his prime right there. But yeah, Cotto was the one that got to him there, man. And hey, I liked Maidana in the first fight. For the first half, I thought maybe this guy could do something, but nothing, and even less competitive there in the second one. What else? Oh, over the weekend, outside of the boxing, I know FIBA, the championships over, U.S., big blowout over Serbia for the gold. Not a lot of debate or doubt or anything about this. I know Spain knocked out. They were hoping that to be the challenge there, but Kyrie Irving named the tournament MVP. Cavaliers Kyrie Irving, 26 points in the final there, and good to see. I said this all along. I just think it's good experience for young players to be a part of it. Not the slightest bit excited, Sean in the chat room. Not the slightest bit excited about it. I mean, that's you should have done that. We're not. That's like you should beat Kent State 66-0. Yes, you should beat Serbia 129-92 and win the FIBA gold. Absolutely. I just like the experience of Kyrie being a part of that, showing some maturity and leadership. But the hell with the games. I keep saying, just being a part of that practice environment and in general, not just now. For the last few years, I think that does nothing but good things for young players, especially when we worry and hear about all the things with young players, egos and their minds going different ways. And are they worried about their brand or this or that or the other thing? And being around guys that have been there, done that, and take care of business is good too. And I just think that. I think that again, I use the word, nobody's a finished product or a static thing. Everybody thinks that just because the book is written on somebody, that's the way it stays. And I think that's a foolhardy way to live life. I mean, a good athlete in any sport adapts and evolves as every season goes by. Not everybody does, but the good ones do, or at least if you know what you're doing, you should. So I hold out hope with a younger guy that they can continue to adapt and evolve, especially if they get around the right guys. There's nothing wrong about being around this environment. I think it's a good thing for them. So we'll see what happens, you guys. I mean, I think it's nothing but good for the Cavaliers that Kyrie and Dion Waiters have been subjected to that Olympic environment a little bit. Now, go ahead and throw me the example of a guy who was worse after the Olympics. I'm sure there's one out there. I'm just simply saying most guys come out a little bit better for the experience, and I'm glad that it's our guy. So there it is. You guys can say what you want. I mean, I'm not going to change anybody's opinions here. I'm not trying to. I don't get paid to change your opinion on Kyrie Irving. I'm just saying I think that it's a good experience, and I'm glad to see him be able to go through it right before this very interesting Cavaliers season that's coming up. So we'll see what happens, guys, and we'll see it all as we do every day here on the show. And we'll be talking about it, baby. Tomorrow, Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com, Dr. Football, Bill Checkis in the house, me and you. Your mama and your cousin, too. How's that go? A little outcast? Anyways, we'll be here doing the thing tomorrow live. We'll talk some Monday Night Football. We'll talk about the Tribe and the Astros, the Browns.